It's Jack from Cult of Notion. Thank you so much for being here today. If you've purchased this template, I really want to give you a sincere thank you. This is something kind of new that I'm doing, is selling the templates that I've been using a lot in my own business. And your support means, I'm going to not cuss, but a F ton. Okay, so just know that is really appreciated. Before I get started into the nitty-gritty details of the template, I kind of want to talk a little bit about why I made this, in hopes that it also kind of helps you know just how you might be able to implement this into your own workflow and with your own clients. So I'm a audio music freelancer. I work a lot in audio post-production for like podcasts and dialogue, and then I also work in music production and film scoring. Those are kind of my main things, in addition to my addiction with productivity. And so in order to stay on top of everything, I have Google Drive and Dropbox and all that, but in terms of updating clients on a project, I almost always use email as the means of updating and sending them links and what have you. And I don't know about you, but that stuff gets lost. I mean, there'll be multiple email threads sometimes for a single project just because there's that much going on. And, things can get kind of lost in the mix. They're kind of awful to have to navigate in terms of finding, this link and this revision or whatever. And then sometimes the folder hierarchies and Dropbox or whatever can also have your client scratching your head and kind of just not remembering what's what and having a hard time getting to it quickly. And so I have been using Notion for everything else quite a bit. And I was thinking, how could I make Notion really great at presenting deliverables and documents to my clients so that way they can find things really easily. There's no ambiguity about which revision we're talking about, the notes, everything's there in one space. One link would be ideal. So I created a single database that has different client portals inside of it. And the client portal is first and foremost the client's name, maybe part of their name or whatever, so I know who it is. And then within that, the projects that I'm working on with them. So it's client first, then projects, and then within those projects, deliverables and documents. And I want to really be clear that this is mostly for the presentation to the client. This doesn't have all my to-dos per project. This is deliverables and documents for this project, for this client, in a nice, neat link so they have no issue finding anything, and it's just really streamlined. So I think that's all the main stuff. Let's get into the details. So first off, as you can see, there is a start here, and I do this with all my templates. This is where the YouTube video is going to be, okay, for the tutorial. And then there's the important template settings. This is going to have a lot of stuff that you're not going to want to delete, if you know what I'm saying. You can always move it to a different place if you don't like the way it looks, but a lot of these pages you're going to want to keep just so that you have them, okay? So first off, for your reference, we have the client portal database, which is, if I click on it, literally just the database. That's it. This is the main powerhouse of the whole thing, okay? And then we have the instructional CP. CP is client portal. The instructional CP, don't delete this template. So this houses, if I click on this houses all the original synced blocks. You can see the red here, okay? And then all these little red blocks for instructions. I find this to be kind of overwhelming, which is why I'm doing a video. I wrote it out, but I honestly think that a video format is better to kind of understand things. But this houses all the sort of original synced blocks. So if you delete, say this, right? It's going to delete it on the main template that's for you to actually duplicate. So I'll explain this in a second a little bit better. Okay, so here we have the tweak templates with your brand. This is what I'm talking about. In this, we have the client portal template, right? This doesn't have the red or anything. And this is the one, see, editing the template. This is the template that you'd want to customize to your own brand. So if you want to change this cover to have your own company colors or whatever, this is the one you do. If you want to change these are individual photos, right? One of the things you'll see in this template is the Canva templates for these. So if you want to change those Canva templates with your own, but keep the general structure the same, you can do that. And you change one of these, it's going to change it for every single client portal that you have. So even if you've had a client that's like a year old and you haven't been working with them and they reach out later, like everything's going to be updated. So your contact information is going to be updated, right? The payment information is going to be updated. How they send files to you is going to be updated. You don't have to go back and, explain things to everyone. It's really cool. So, okay. So this is the one that you're going to use to start with. This is going to be the one you customize, okay? Next, we have, under this section, we have the inside the client portal template. So this is what I was talking about when I said there's the project and then deliverables and documents. So let's take a look at the project. Look how simple that looks. So again, if you want to customize this, this is the one you do. This is the project one. And within this, we have 2 other databases, deliverables and documents, and then the main Dropbox folder. This could be a Google folder. Whatever the main folder is that you have for your client to put all of the project-related materials in, this is for that. This is their main one. And then we have deliverables and documents within this. So if you change this, the name and the name of the project, the name of the client, it's going to change it for every single template that you have that you start from. So, I could make this, John Doe, but it's going to change the template. It's not going to change the one that I'm actually going to give to John Doe, right? So if I go back, this project is within the client portal template, okay? And specifically, it's in here. So I go back to here and click on the little configure. I click, see that? The client project name. That's within a template. You can't see the little template indication, but it is within a template. So if you change this, it's going to change the template that you duplicate from. It's not going to be the one for Mr. John Doe. Okay, so we have the main project template, and then within that, we have deliverables and documents. The deliverables page looks like this. They're actually very similar. Deliverables and documents are pretty much identical. I just use them for different reasons and to kind of help make it very clear the difference for the client so they're not like clicking on the wrong one. And I'm going to walk through more of this in a second. I just want to do a quick overview. Again, you can see all my little instructions. It's too much, but for the sake of this, I'm going to leave it there. And then the documents one looks very similar. Again, it's another database. You kind of see the format's identical, but it's different title name. So that way people don't get confused, okay? And then we have the additional resources, the client portal 5 email templates and client portal Canva templates. So if I go to here, this is furthermore how I implement this into the email system to kind of help semi-automate this process. So I'm not doing everything from scratch all the time. Again, I'll go over this a little bit more in a second. And then the Canva templates. So if you want to change one of the photos that you've seen, I think all of that is in this link. And you can duplicate that to your own Canva and change the colors how you want. Below here, we have Jack Booth's client portal demo and the guided client portal guide. So this one's going to have, I think, more of the red. Yeah, this one has all the red and all that kind of stuff. And then this one is just kind of empty, but it has like examples of stuff, okay? So I'm actually going to go over this one because I kind of like the way, I like cleaner look and the other stuff is just overwhelming. Okay, so Jack Booth's client portal. Hello. First off, 2 more properties. Let's just look at this. We have the status, which can be active, complete, inactive, or whatever else you want to add. But I like to kind of know this person, I haven't talked to them in like a year, so we're not talking. This one's recently completed. I can check that off. This one's, we are currently working on something, right? The client portal URL, this is kind of the secret sauce. This is where I put a custom link that I've made for the client so that they can type in the link and they've got this, okay? So there's a thing I use called Rebrandly, and you may have heard of it, but you can have like up to 500 links for free without even having to pay for the software. And if you have a website, then it's very easy to basically, what I do is I have a client portal.neonsirensstudios.com. Neon Siren Studios is my audio and music production domain. So I'll have, clientportal.neonsirensstudios.com/ and then whatever client or whatever custom link you want to give them. So then that is all that they need to access their portal, and they can bookmark that link. They've got it on their phone, their computer, whatever. The one link to rule them all. Okay. So this is where you'd put that once you've made it. You have to use Rebrandly or a similar rebranding link tool to make that work, but that's where you put it. And then we've got the meat and potatoes of the presentation. So what I like to do is I have a little intro typically for my clients where, I put like a welcome message, and if there's something specific, I'll put it in there. And then again, be sure to bookmark your custom client portal URL. So whatever I've put in here, I will copy and paste that and put it in here. I might change the color so it's a little bit more visible, a little more on brand, whatever. But you can see I've done a fake, Jackass booth as a little slash. But essentially, this is what Rebrandly does, is make you be able to use this custom part with your domain. Okay. Next, we've got contact information and projects. So as you'll notice, I don't know if you can see it very well, but see how the red is only surrounding the start here image, but with contact, it's surrounding the whole of the little call out here. That's very intentional. The start here is synced, so only the photo will change if you change it. If you change it on one of these, it's going to change it on all of these. And if I have this message, right, and I put it into the synced block, well, that means that the client portal link that I have is going to be accessible to every single client that has a client portal, right? It's going to change it so that every start here has this underneath. And I don't actually want every client to be able to see this URL. The URL should be private. Okay, so I'm going to move that back out. But you can see how it can be beneficial, because if I want to change, I don't know, if I feel really Christmassy all of a sudden and I want to add some snowflakes, I can do that and it's going to change it for everything. But for here, it gets even more awesome because I'm not just housing a photo, I'm housing really important information. So you can house your contact info, right? You can see it's not quite equal. Love that. I hate that when that happens. But Monday through Friday, right, these sort of made up times is, recommended. And then you can have a book a call link if you use like Calendly. I use a Calendar, that kind of thing. You can make a little link right here and put it in there, and all your clients have access to that, right, from their portal. If you have an email address, right, put that in there, text or call or whatever you prefer right here. And then your client doesn't have to wonder, man, how do I get in contact? It's right there, right? So that's pretty cool. And again, if you change it for one, it's going to change it for everything because it's within the red, okay? So let's go over to projects. This is the one that your clients are probably going to be accessing the most, okay? Because this is going to be where you put your deliverables for them. And so you can see here I have a your projects call out, and basically you could end up listing, just for example, I'm going to duplicate this, but you could end up listing a whole bunch of different projects right here. So they have the one workspace, but it has all of their individual projects, okay? So they're not having to go to multiple links to find the one thing. Okay. So let's take a look at this first so you know. So I like to do a thing where I put the templates in a synced block. It's kind of annoying, but I'll explain why. So this is a template block. If I press this, it's going to make a new project template, right? And you can see it makes it within the synced block, and that's actually not where I want it. I have to drag it outside of it. But here's why I do that, okay? It's because that when it's inside of it, if I change it here, it changes everywhere. So if I want to make like a real, permanent change to this template, and I'm like, you know what? I want a different icon. I want this to be multiple folders now, right? I'm telling myself I need to include 3 folders or whatever. If I change it here, it's going to change it so the template is that way from now on. I don't have to, go back and find the original source and yada, 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 right? So I could be in an old project or a brand new project. And again, if I make it change here, it's going to change it for everything. It's just one and done. And I really like that. The only thing is I have to drag it outside of the block. That's a sacrifice I'm willing to make. If you really don't like it, you can always unsync. But I'd really, kind of push you to try it like this because it's just nice. So I'm going to delete this for now. But that's what this does. It makes a new project that you can then drag down here and then rename it as you want. And I've already done it with this one. And that's the one I'm going to click into so you can see what I've done with that. Okay. All right. So your project, super simple, right? There's nothing else really going on here. But this is where I'd put the link to a folder, right? And then I have Jack Booth demo project deliverables and Jack Booth demo project documents. This is the meat and potatoes. I'm going to go into the deliverables. And look at that. What do we have? We have a fake deliverable. We have a status. We have a type. Revision number, notes, URL, attachment, and created. This keeps you honest, okay? If you're adding, different deliverables or revisions or whatever, it keeps you and your client honest, right? Let's say you have a max number of 3 deliverables and, with this particular contract that you have, right? And, your client can see, oh, yeah, we're on number 3. If they request something else, it's going to be another revision, right? And then they have all the history to show for that, right? So first off, I'm going to start from the beginning here. The file name is what that really means, which is to just put whatever the file name is or whatever your client's going to understand it as, right? The status is really cool because they can see very quickly what they need to get back to you for. So if it's already been reviewed, it's going to go down. It's sorted so that this is lower priority. But if they need to review it, it's going to pop up. So it's going to be one of the first things that they see. Okay. Second, we have the deliverable type. All right. This you need to customize as per how you like to do things. And again, you don't want to customize it in here. This is the demo project. If you want to customize it, you got to go to the template one. So I'm going to go back and show you which one that is, right? So if we go back and we want to edit the template, we got to go to here, right? We can edit the project and the deliverables and documents for the template right here. We don't want to edit the demo one because that's not going to affect if I do a new, right? This has nothing to do with that. Okay, so we check out the status. We have deliverable type. So if you have, for instance, for me, I might have a rough demo that I send to someone who's interested in music production. I might have an edit that I've done of a podcast or something, but it's not the final, right? This kind of helps to indicate that very quickly so they know, oh, this is another draft. Oh, this is like before we even get to draft stage, or oh, these are final deliverables. You're going to want to add these to how you work, okay? Revision number is exactly that. You might have a set number of revisions that you have in a contract. This is to keep that honest and kind of help keep that history so you're not trying to remember all the time, oh, which one is this? You can always go back and see, oh yeah, that's right, this one's number 3. All right. And technically, like, this might be, in actuality 0, and then you might want to go 1, right, 2, if you have, like, if the first one doesn't count as a revision. You know what I'm saying? So this might be your baseline, and then, 1, 2, 3, however many that you include in your package or whatever. Notes I use all the time, and this is usually for me to communicate to the client. You could have them, if you wanted to give them editing permission, they could do this, but I would recommend keeping it to commenting, which you can do depending on how you share the template with them. But this is typically how I communicate a specific draft or a specific edit to the client in terms of what I've changed, what I need their input on. I put that stuff here, okay? And then they can see it, and it's always associated with that particular file, which is really cool because it's kind of hard to do with Dropbox. It's kind of hard to do that with other folder sort of situations. Now, I'm not saying you can't implement that in the system, which is I'm going to show you, but I just mean you have a really quick way of associating a particular file with specifics without having to click on the file or listen or, whatever. It's right there. At a glance, it's right there. And that's the point. All right, so next we have URL. This is where I'll put files, file links to Dropbox. So I use Dropbox a lot, and I can just copy the Dropbox link, put that right here, and we are good to go, right? But you could do an attachment. So if you have lighter files, I prefer this for the documents, and I'll show you that in a second. But if you have lighter files that you want to include in Notion directly, you can put it right here, right? And that's their deliverable. And then finally, I have the created so that the client can see when I uploaded it, right? And let's say I uploaded it well before the deadline for them to get back to me, and they still haven't gotten back to me. They know that they had that deliverable accessible, that I was active at this time. They could have reached out or whatever if they couldn't access it, or they know that I'm active. I'm doing stuff on my end. It's really good for working remotely with people. So then, as you can see, we have two other tabs, right? To review and final deliverables. And this is, again, mostly for the client so that they don't have any issue finding what they need, okay? So to review is everything that has the please review status. So that way, if they log on and they're like, oh yeah, let me just see what Jack had for me, and there's nothing here, they know that they're good. They're still waiting back for me to do stuff. But if there's something here, then they know that, oh yeah, that was that thing that she said, right? It's right here, right? Link, everything. And then final deliverables, tab for everything final. So again, there's no confusion. Everything final, you mark it with this little status. That's all. It's all there, right? It's all in your URL or attachment and your notes. Boom. So let me back out of this, and we're going to go check out the documents. Okay, so we're in the documents one. Again, super similar layout. It's really not that different, but the purpose is to make sure that it's really easy to differentiate it for the clients. There's a huge difference between contracts that we're talking about versus the audio deliverables that I have, right? So it's just to make it a little bit more different for them visually. So again, we have a very similar layout, right? Document title, which is however you want to name it so the client will understand it. Status, right? Please review, reviewed for reference, same concept. Document type, I have some templates in here already, but you can add what you want, take away what you don't need. But again, I have draft and final. So what I do is I pair it. I might have like proposal and it's a draft, it's not the final, or it's not really a good example, but contract draft, right? Use that all the time because it's not finalized yet. And that way they can see at a glance, oh, right, this is a contract, but it's a draft. It's not the final one, right? They don't have to go into it and be like, oh, which one was this again? Or they're not scrolling the email threads being like, which one was this again? Right? It's right there. Again, we have a revision number. This might be useful for if you're doing, multiple contracts and you're just trying to figure out, oh yeah, which one did we agree on? It was number 1, which is, never happens. Or number 3, right? So that's what this is for. Notes. Same thing as before. Usually I use this to communicate to the client. So if I've made a change, I'll document it here to kind of highlight that for them. Again, you could give them more edit parameters so that they could use that, but I would recommend that they use commenting if you're going to do it that way, instead of having them actually access this box. We have URL and we have attachment, just like before. And usually I use attachments for the documents because I can house it right there. And it's just one less link they got to go through, right? They can download it right then and there. So usually that's how I use the documents one. And again, we have created. And just like before, we have a to review for anything that the client needs to get back to us for. And then a final document. So all the final contracts, invoices, all of that will be there, right? They don't have to be like, oh, which one was the final one, right? They don't have to search through the email attachments. It's right here. Now, I do utilize email, okay? And I want to go into how I use that so that way it's not just they're waiting for me to update something on Notion. Okay, I still tell them when I've updated something, but they're not looking for the email with all the information on that update because that's going to get lost. I'm using email as more of a quick way to update, quick way to let them know something's different so that they can check what they really need to check, which is this link. Okay? So let's check out what the emails are so you kind of know what I mean. So in this, I've included a downloadable rich text file so that you can have the actual text form of this, because I find that Notion can be a little bit weird when you copy and paste it to another writing program. But basically, I've included several templates that I use. I use these and I make templates in my email client, which I go between Spark and Canary. And I use those and I put these as templates. So this is an example of what I might do for a first-time client in a client portal, okay? Subject line, your client portal has been created. This goes right in the email template. Hey there, I changed their name, obviously. It'd be kind of weird if I did that. Your client portal has been created. You can access it via the link below. There's that link again, right? So this for me is usually looks like this. And then it has, their special little name that I've made for them in the link, in the rebrandly link, right? So boom, they have that link. And then I say, highly recommend bookmarking it. The only link you'll need in order to access all your deliverables, documents, and other important files. Please keep in mind that anyone with the link can access your portal. And this is something that you could also copy and paste and put it on the little intro window, right? It's really just how you want things to look. If you need further assistance, bada-boom, bada-boom, right? So I have this already saved in my email client, and all I do is change the name of the link and send it. That's all I do. That way they have that information, and then, they can check it out in their own time. Now, when it comes to deliverables and documents, that's where I send these update emails. So again, I keep this as a template. And I save them as deliverables, and I save another one as documents. So I might put, this is an auto email to let you know the deliverables in your client portal have been updated. All deliverables can be found by going to your client portal, current page, deliverables page. So current project, excuse me. So again, if they have multiple projects, right, then I might make a new template that just says, Jimmy's CD project, right? Let's say that's the name of one of the projects, which I hope isn't, but let's say that's the name of the project. Then they know, oh yeah, I just have to go to that one and then check out the deliverables and everything's there, right? That's what it's telling them. It's not having all the information within the email. You could do that, but like I said, it kind of defeats the purpose. It's basically notification sending, right? So again, same thing with the documents. It's, again, nearly identical. It's just to let them know, hey, it's been updated. Because Notion doesn't do this. I mean, it kind of does. It'll give you little notifications if you tag them. But I don't want my clients to have to rely on using Notion and knowing it really well in order to make it effective for them. I want them to have this link. And I'm using email, which is something they already use, and that's how they're getting their updates from. And they're like, oh yeah, time to check my link, time to, open up my bookmark, right? And then this is just for, I guess, if files are taking a little bit longer. So sometimes I have things that are several gigabytes, and, it's just not super quick. So this is, again, really helpful if you're dealing with large project files. You use this as a template, right? And you let them know that they're uploading, and maybe try to give them an estimate as to how long you think it'll take, if you can. And then you can always send an email once you know that they're done, right? And then finally, we have the final deliverables. So this one's a little bit different because I'm trying to close things. Now, these emails don't take away from when I'm actually communicating with them. These emails are on purpose designed to be like little notifications. They're not meant to be like, these are the only conversations I'm having with my clients, right? These are just to notify. So this one is, again, more of a notification, but it's also kind of trying to start wrapping things up. So I'm letting them know how long things will be online in the Dropbox or Google folder, right? I'm letting them know that in this email. I'm trying to say that if there's something else that needs to be done, then I'm including it here. But this is, again, it's just a notification. I wouldn't just leave it on this, okay? It's like one of those final updates, okay? And then, you can still have a conversation as per normal. But instead of having everything in the email itself, these are the updates. And this is the system that I use. So let's just take a look at what you're seeing, okay? This is what you're going to probably be working in most of the time. And that's when you have, like, if you needed to create a new template, you can do that right here. You can, again, sort them, right, by if they're active, complete, or not. You can have these tabs, right? So you can see things at a glance. If you have a long list, this starts to become really nice because then you're not having to be like, you see everything and everything you did for, the past 5 years, right? So these are nice little tabs to help that. But it's really, it's simple in its design and its concept, but it's powerful, I find, because it creates a streamlined atmosphere, a really cool, kind of unique thing for your client. I mean, not every client can say, oh yeah, I have my, own special link and that's how I get my audio files or whatever. You know what I mean? It's kind of special and it makes it easy. It's a little bit to set up, which is why I'm offering this template because, it took me some time to kind of think about how I wanted to do this and a lot of trial and error. But I think that you're going to find that once you tweak it to your company brand, your self-employed kind of atmosphere, right? Like your vibe, that you're going to I think you'll like it. I think you'll find that it's helpful. It's been helpful for me. Clients have liked it. Again, it's kind of simple in its concept, but it's powerful. So let me know what you think. If you have any questions, please don't hesitate to contact me right here, okay? And you can delete this when you're done. I put this in my templates too so everybody can find me. But again, feel free to delete. No worries, okay? Thank you so much for your time, for checking this out. I hope this was helpful. But please, if there's anything else you need me to cover, just send me an email, all right? Thank you so much. Good luck to you. Good luck to your business. Good luck with your clients, all right? And have a great one.